How's it going, YouTube? My name is Mike. This channel is Health and Wealth. I am looking at my hair as I turned on this webcam, and I need a haircut. So I brought my hat in here. Go Leafs, go! Let's get started. Today is Group C of the distribution announcements over at YieldMax. Last week, the big name was NFLY. Probably a couple others. That's my big name that I have. This week, the big name is CONY. Next week is MSTY, right? So let's go into it today. Let's talk about all of the distribution announcements. There's a lot of them now. So thanks for joining me, Tom Brady Green Jr. and I love having you here. If you enjoy this content, hit the subscribe and like buttons, and we'll get started here right away. All right. So first things first, the weeklies. Let's talk the weeklies, right? So the first weekly here is QDTY. It's paying out 15 cents. So it's a weekly fund. Every week you get paid, which is nice. QDTY. This is going to be its, let's take a look here, second payment, and it's cut in half from the one before. Not a big fan of how it's done so far in the first month, down 6.3%, but I think we can probably blame a lot of these numbers on the last 5 days, right? As an example, 5 days, there's 3%, 1 month, 6%. So went up a little bit today, but tomorrow expect that it'll go down 15 cents, give or take, depending on the market. But I'll rewind a little bit. So tomorrow is the X distribution day, which means that all of these numbers that we're going to go off will come off the number of the price of the fund. If the market goes up, then they won't come off the full amount. If market goes down, the full amount plus some. But expect that these numbers that I'm sharing with you, and I'll share it with you again here, these ones down this row right here will come off the fund. So next one we're going to take a look at is SDTY. Now this is going to be the S&P 500 play over at YieldMax, paying 17 cents, so a little bit more than its counterpart there with the Qs. So SDTY, let's go take a look here. 17 cents. It's now its third payment and its lowest so far, but it was a bit of a rough week last week. SDTY here, in the last month down 4.98%, but you have gotten now. Is that a word? Gotten? You've now received 3 distributions as of this Friday, so that's going to be good. Is the S&P 500 down 4.98%? I don't think it is, but yeah, I mean, you're getting your income, right? You're getting your income. So there you go. Next up, GPTY, 30 cents. Pretty good little distribution there. And GPTY, this is going to be its 5th payment. So it hovers around the same amount every single week. I like the consistency in that. That's for sure. Not a big fan of the share price, down almost 12% in its first month here. I guess it's been around since January 23rd. So down 13% since its inception, but the income is decent, right? Weekly income, 31 cents, 32 cents, 29, 33, and then of course this one here as well. All right, next we have LFGY. This is another weekly. We got 3 more weeklies here. This is the biggest payment on the weeklies, though, so far. Its distribution rate 61.48%, or 46 cents. That's a pretty big number for LFGY. Let's go take a look at it here on YieldMax's website. Wow. Okay, so it's paid out quite a bit so far, hasn't it? That's interesting. All over 50 cents so far. LFGY itself, since it's come out on January 14th, down almost 20%. Let's call it 19 and a half. I mean, if we take a look at the last month, that's 16% of it right there. Now, here is part of the reason why. Crypto has had a bit of a dip in the last month, but this Friday, so a couple days from now, there will be a meeting at the White House. Michael Saylor, 15 other people that were on the list will be there. That's the biggest name that I saw. Meeting with the Trump, talking about crypto and specifically Bitcoin when it comes to making some U.S. Treasury and things like that. So that might bode well for funds like LFGY here. which has seen a 16% decline. But I mean, if you take a look at the price of Bitcoin in that same time period, it's kind of doing the exact same thing. So I won't blame them too hard on that one, but you definitely got to be happy with your payouts so far. I know I would be on that one. LFGY. Next up, we have YMAX. So these are a bit older. They've been around a little longer. YMAX paying out 24 cents this week, which is good. 24 cents. That's pretty good for YMAX. You know, there's its last bunch of weeks. So that's going to be one of its highest payments all the way since December, the Boxing Day when that was announced, right? So that's pretty darn good. YMAX itself is not doing that well. I'm not a big fan of that price, that's for sure, but down 13% in the last 6 months, down 29% since its inception, which was, oh, hold on. Its inception was January 19th. So this thing's been around for a year. I didn't even realize that, but it started paying weekly when? Like in the early fall, like September, something like that. Don't quote me on that. I could definitely be wrong. It's not something that I'm in, but I'm not a big fan of that price going down 25% in that just over a year here. So that's why Max. Let's go take a look at why Mag. YMAG, 15 cents. Pretty standard for YMAG, actually. YMAG, 15 cents. There's all of its distribution. So this actually is a good time to talk about this. Next week should be the lowest week, right? It goes in these like 4 week cycles. And so every fourth week, it drops to around 5 cents. So if you look here, five, skip a few weeks, there's five again, 6 cents, right? So next week should be one of the low ones. Something to expect from YMAG. But yeah, YMAG's share price is a little more stable than YMAX. So out of the two, if I had to choose, if you told me you got to choose one, I would probably choose YMAG just for the stability. But I'm not in either of these funds, and nobody's telling me what to do with my money. And I'm not telling you guys what to do with your money either, right? You do you. Next up, this is one that I have money in. It's CONY. This is a Coinbase play. CONY has not been great, let's say that, over the last couple of months. Now, I'm really pleased that YieldMax has calmed down a little bit here, and they paid us 59 cents. Last distribution was like a buck two. And the share price is kind of not doing so hot over here at CONY. So 59 cents. Yeah, there's $1.04 last 4 weeks ago. But yeah, 59 cents is going to be its lowest ever. I'm going to say, yeah, its lowest ever. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Bitcoin had a bit of a slump in the last month here. One reason. The other one is Coinbase had a bit of a slump as well in the last month. Another reason is the share price of this is getting quite a bit lower. You'll notice as share prices get lower, so do distributions. They don't want to deplete it too much. What I wish they would do is have that mentality at the beginning and not pay us as much money and keep that share price high. You guys know my feelings. You've been around for a while. 3,600 subscribers hanging out. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way. We're up to 3 members, too, which is incredible. Like, that's incredible. Thank you so much to you guys. So, Coinbase down 44%, or CONY, sorry, down 44% in the last, well, since its inception. But if you want to take a look at that again, it has definitely paid a lot of distributions in that time. So, you know, it's paid itself out plus a little bit more since its inception, October of 2023. I've only had it now for let's talk realistic, right? I had one share and then 2 shares for like 3 or 4 months, and then I've had it now with over 190 shares since I'm gonna say about 3 months. So might be the fourth time. I have it set on drip, which means that the shares are gonna automatically reinvest. I think I'm at 214 shares of this, so that 59 cents should buy me roughly 10 shares, right? And so I'm going to make another video on CONY tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about goals and everything I'm doing with CONY tomorrow. Let's talk about Fiat, which is going to be the opposite of CONY. This is going for the downside of Coinbase. And Fiat paying a little bit more this month, 68 cents. I've got it here waving at it with my hand. 68 cents for Fiat, which is going to be a pretty big payment for Fiat. Let's take a look at their history here. Yeah, it's not that much higher than in the past actually, but it is higher. And again, that's because Coinbase, I almost said Coney, but Coinbase went down a little bit. So fiat here, not a good investment in my eyes. I mean, look at the price on this thing. For me, it's a no, but down 57% on that thing. If you ever go look at Coinbase over the last month here, Coinbase went down a little bit, so fiat's looking for the downside, and so fiat went up 5.87%, which is pretty good. But I mean, it's up 47 cents in share price, but they're paying out more than they made in share price. So that's an interesting thought for sure. Next up, we've got MSFO paying 28 cents. Microsoft Play here doesn't pay a lot. Super steady though. Pays roughly the same every single 4 weeks. MSFO here, share price up 2% today. If you look at the last 4 weeks, down 4%, but I mean down 14% in the last 6 months. You can see there was a bit of a slide here January 29th to today, it's been down 9%. So, yeah, pretty kind of boring fund. It doesn't really pay a ton, but there you go. If you're in, you're in. AMDY, this one's having a hard time. Its underlying is having a hard time in the world right now, but paying 25 cents. AMDY, let's go take a look at it. 25 cents. Yeah, it's pretty standard over the last four payments now, hovering around that. I don't know if we averaged all of those out, it would probably be about 32 cents between the four. Tell me if my math is right. Hey, is that 32 cents? Four divided these things here divided by four. I'm going to say 32 cents. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You guys tell me. But share price is awful on this thing. $8.16. Not for me. It's a no. That's for sure. But we'll move on to the next one. NFLY Netflix play here, 40 cents right there. Netflix. Who doesn't have Netflix, right? Do you guys have Netflix? What's a great show on Netflix right now for me to watch? So last month it was great because they had earnings. So this month it's a little bit lower, right? So buck seven, 58 cents, 86 cents in the last three payments. Just gonna put it back up there for my brain. 40 cents. So quite a bit lower this month. How is it doing as a share price though? Yeah, it's pretty steady, right? Above above 15, in the last 6 months it's up 7.5%. But I mean, look at this. The last month down 7.5%. So that means it was up 14% at one point there. But yeah, not too bad of a fund. This would have been a thing if you hadn't invested in Netflix at the beginning of NFLY coming out. You would have made way more money. Right, next we have ABNY. It's an Airbnb play paying out 48 cents. It's going to be its highest payment since November. But yeah, pretty good. I mean, 48 cents, sure. ABNY ETF itself, not doing too great. If you look over the last year or since its inception, it's down 26%. Not a big fan of that share price plus those distributions. Airbnb is, they had a big bump in their stock price, a couple of weeks ago. So not too sure why, the price of ABNY is so low. Not too sure why the distribution's so low. Maybe they didn't capture all of that upside because it was such a steep bump. But I mean, Airbnb may have come down since then, but it's not something I pay attention to too much. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. So we only have a couple left. We got PP, 37 cents, which is kind of shocking. I remember talking about PP a few months ago, and it was pretty high. Wow, more than a few months ago, October, right? Time flies. My brain shuts down. I hibernate over winter, and I forget about the other months in between. But that's going to be its lowest distribution in a very, very long time. How much was it again? 37 cents. So it's lowest one since August. Woof. My goodness. Let's take a look at the stock or the ETF in that $14 range. Again, not good. Group C has a trend here, right? A lot of these are hovering around this $14 and $15 range. Something's got to give to get these prices back up to where they should be. But there you go. Huge announcement today on ULTY. They have changed it from a monthly to going to be a weekly payment as of March 12th. I'll correct that in the edit here. It's either March 12th or March 17th. It's now going to become a weekly distribution. So if you're in Alti, understand that your distribution goes from this to this, right? A quarter every single week. This 4 week cycle, it's paying out 46 cents, which is pretty good for Alti. The people who own Alti love Alti. The people who don't love Alti don't love Alti. But 46 cents, there you go. That's it compared to its previous weeks. Alti itself is down in share price, 61% in the last year, 62% since it came out, which was March 1st. Wow, so this thing's been out for a year. I haven't looked at the total return, and I think that's an important thing to talk about with everybody is that when you look at these funds, look at the total return. How much money have investors got back in this fund? And I mean, if we take a look at Alti here, you can see all of their payments listed. I'm not invested in Alti. I've heard people say that its total return is better than the S&P 500 since January 1st. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, for me, I'm out. Again, it's because of that share price. And the reason I get a little nervous about the share price is like you can see the graph. It's going one direction and it's not the right direction. So yes, you're getting your distributions, but no, your share price goes down every single 4 week cycle here. And is that going to change whenever it becomes weekly? I can't see it changing. So for me, that's not investable. This is something that's going to be, $6, $5, the next 2 months, $4, $3, and then poof, it's going to be a 5-for-1 stock split, reverse split, and it's going to be, $50, but you take your 100 shares and you divide them by 5. So for me, I'm out on that one. Last one we're going to talk about, then we're going to get into a little Bitcoin conversation, is one of the newest funds over here is a Carvana. And so huge payment. This is going to be its first payment at YieldMax. I'm just going to kind of dip up here. $3.91. Sorry, I'm looking at the monitor behind here. Got a different setup in my office here since my real estate course has ended, but that's a huge payment. A huge payment. Let's go take a look at the ETF itself. So it started at $50. It came out January 30th, so it's been out for a month and 15 days, something like that. What's the math on that? 10 days? I don't know. But I mean, it's already down almost 9% in share price. So tomorrow, whenever they pay out that $3 and whatever it is cents, it's going to be down even more. And so I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about that, right? So YieldMax does a thing where they kind of and I've noticed it lately, is the first few months they get a little flashy with their distributions. They throw out a lot of money to attract the business into it. That's what it looks like on this one. I mean, if I take a look at the chart here over the last month, it was down 12% in share price. So how can this be down 12% in share price, but they're still paying out $3.91? Is that right? $3. I gotta look at it again. $3.91. How's that possible? Yeah, I'm not too sure how that's possible. But Bitcoin. Let's talk about that. One last thing about Bitcoin here. And yeah, so let's do a refresh on this. Bitcoin is going up today. If you didn't know, we're at 90,000 right now. For me, I invested a little bit more actually into Bitcoin. As soon as I heard that the Donald's having people over to his house to talk about Bitcoin treasury and things like that, I invested just another $100 into it. If you've been following my channel, you know how much I have in Bitcoin. It's not a lot. I'm a late to the party investor of Bitcoin, but I truly do believe that it is going to be big, 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 big in the future. And so I'm going to be like Michael Saylor. I'm going to buy at the top for the rest of my life. No, maybe not the rest of my life, but for the next 5 years, I'm going to be buying at the top. So today I bought a little bit more just because of that meeting. I think it's going to be big, but I mean, who am I, right? I'm just guesstimating here. I'm not too sure if it will or won't, but hey, if you enjoyed these videos, my name is Mike. This is Health and Wealth. I hope to see you as a subscriber and potentially a member for the channel supporting me and the family. If not, the subscribe will do. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a great night. Talk to you soon.